It is being called the biggest intelligence leak in at least a decade. And now a suspect is behind bars. But the big question tonight, why the heck did a low-level Air Force reservist even have access to such top-secret information? I'm Jimmy Fala. Kennedy is on assignment in Borneo. Earlier today, an FBI tactical unit in body armor raided a home in southern Massachusetts, about 20 miles east of Providence. And they marched our little gamer friend outside in a pair of shorts. Moments later, Attorney General Merrick Garland made a brief statement about the suspect.
Today, the Justice Department arrested Jack Douglas Teixeira in connection with an investigation into alleged unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. Teixeira is an employee of the United States Air Force National Guard. FBI agents took Teixeira into custody earlier this afternoon without incident. This investigation is ongoing. We will share more information at the appropriate time. Thanks, everyone.
Teixeira was reportedly doing IT work for the intelligence wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. And man, oh man, top brass at the Pentagon are furious. Not just because of what leaked, but because of how incompetent it makes everyone look. But today, the Defense Department claimed it wasn't their fault. Watch.
It is important to understand that we do have stringent guidelines in place for safeguarding classified and sensitive information. This was a deliberate criminal act, a violation of those guidelines.
Oh, no, you didn't. Investigators say Teixeira posted the documents on a chat room platform called Discord. Highly sensitive stuff. Things like our relationship with allies, military operations in places like Ukraine and the Middle East, even spy missions in China and Russia. That's why there's already talk of charging him with treason and putting him in front of a firing squad if convicted. But the suspect's gamer pals on Discord already leaping to his defense. Watch.
Any claims that he is a Russian operative or pro-Russian is categorically false. He is not interested in helping any foreign agencies with their attack on the U.S. or other countries. He was a young, charismatic man who loved nature, God, who loved shooting guns and racing cars.
Naturally, everyone in Washington is pointing fingers at everyone else, but as it stands right now, who's got the most egg on their face? That's expensive, whoever the heck it is. That's not cheap these days. Let's break it down with the best party panel on the show right now. Comedian Diamond Dave Landau in the house. Hey, girl.
Hey, baby.
Independent Women's Forum senior policy analyst Inez Stepman is here. That's exciting. Hello, hello, hello. And comedian and writer Charles McBee is back, and the crowd goes wild. I'm going to start right with you, Landau. Let's have this talk.
Yes.
Okay, this is a 21-year-old kid with access to highly sensitive classified information. Isn't he kind of not the bad guy here, but the people who gave him this access in a weird way?
I agree. When I was 21, I couldn't get approved for a credit card. So the fact that he was able to get that is already alarming enough.
Yeah.
And the only thing that should be making you leak on the internet when you're 21 is Pornhub. So really the people in charge...
Good night, everybody!
Good night. Am I
No, you're gone.
No, but yeah, I think anybody in charge who made this happen, they're at fault.
Yeah.
Why would anybody who's just 21 be able to go into the Pentagon and go, hey, you know, I have all these Ukraine documents, which, should we be surprised? We've been sending money over there. Is anybody going like, oh, are we involved somehow?
Yeah, so
I had no idea.
I don't know. I want to talk about this, Inez, because obviously we're going to pay a lot of attention to the leaker. Okay, but shouldn't we be looking harder at what was actually leaked in terms of what we've learned about maybe the behavior of Russia and China and even a couple of our allies?
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of remarkable to me that the media is covering this story exclusively about this 21-year-old kid who is the leaker and is very silent. They're actually kind of listening. The Pentagon kind of waved their finger at media and said, don't report on this. And largely, the legacy media has complied with that. The other important thing I think that's getting missed in all of this story is that the Pentagon said they're going to review their procedures for how they look at private chats on the internet. Okay, RIP everybody's group chat, basically. Like, you're going to have intelligence services crawling through a lot more of this private internet communications, and I think that's something that probably should worry us.
I would agree with that 100%, because this is always used as a justification for whatever federal overreach comes next. But McBee, let's take politics out of this for 1 second. Just explain to the panel how this is the Democrats' fault.
Well, first of all, I want to say I'm 40 and I still can't get approved for a credit card. So it
But you can get picked up in a cab, thanks to me. Anytime.
No, this is
big
crazy.
news.
This is like it's like an Adam Sandler movie. I don't know what the heck is going on, who's in charge here. Like, it's
Neither
wild.
do they.
I just know that as soon as this happened, as soon as Biden found out that there was a leak and they came and told him that something had been leaked, his first thought was, Hunter! Like he's going around thinking it happened again.
Well, what's interesting is, in a roundabout way, this is the end result of federal action because, Inez, as you know, this group actually started during the pandemic because people couldn't socialize in person and they were getting together. And we've had like an accelerated buy-in to chat rooms and groups like this. And this guy, his name was OG, was his nickname, basically coordinated this group and was like, you guys want to see something? So isn't this just another offshoot of the damage done by extended lockdowns in a weird way?
Yeah, I mean, he should have just developed a drinking problem the way that most of the country
Thank
did.
you. No, I'm with you there.
Would have been fine.
Or an eating disorder.
Yeah, exactly. If he had just gained 50 pounds, but instead he's like, hey, guys, secret files.
No, I like what you did there. Inez, let me ask you this, though, and I think everyone should weigh in on this. The name of the group, okay, I just want to make sure I get this right, was called Thug Shaker Central. Now, if you are trafficking in classified documents, isn't the goal to draw as little attention and make your name sound as upstanding as possible? Shouldn't it have been called, like, what should it have been called? I don't even know.
Don't Google that. This is my first advice. Do not Google that. No, I mean, it seems like the motivation here, at least according to his buddies, the motivation was basically for clout on like a Discord channel, right? There aren't these larger motivations, but actually, you know, again, this is serious information. You may have actually done the country an enormous favor. These are things, some things obviously are classified and should be, but a lot of this seems to be more embarrassing for U.S. security services than it is, like, for example, some previous leaks contained like the names of spies or some of this really dangerous information. So far, the Pentagon hasn't really talked about. By the way, these are not the only documents that were apparently leaked on this Discord server. Apparently, there are up to 500 documents that were leaked. We've only heard about a small percentage of the pages that have been leaked. So there's more out there.
You're telling that firing squad to bring a second round of ammo.